During reading. Now, just prior to reading, it's important to establish a purpose for reading. And our purpose for reading is to identify the text structure the writer has used. And we've already established that it's sequential in structure. So the other factor that we need to think about, whether we read the whole text or whether we read just sections. Now, it's okay just to read a paragraph or even one or two sentences. And so with this particular article, to begin with, I would ask the readers to read the first paragraph, and we'd even read it together. And as we read, now remember this is going to link to our purpose, I want them to think about the first step in the sequence. And so if we look at the first step in this sequence, and I'm just going to read the first sentence out, Philly pushed a trolley towards the baking room. Now you can see there's a time factor there, and Philly pushes a trolley. That's the first step in the sequence, but let's read the rest of it. The trolley was heavy with mince and cheese pies. Philly walked slowly and carefully because the problem with the floor still wasn't fixed. So we can establish the very first step in the sequence is that Philly is pushing the trolley towards the baking room. So we're going to put that in our diagram. And we're going to remind our learners this is just like getting up in the morning. It's the first step in preparing for work. Well, let's read the next paragraph. And together I'd ask the learners to read the next paragraph, and we'd do that together. Now, the next paragraph is largely descriptive and talking about why the floor hadn't been fixed. And then we're going to read the next paragraph together, and I'm going to ask them in paragraph 3 to identify the next step in the sequence. Philly rounded the corner and stopped with a crash. Someone had dumped some pie crates on the floor right outside the baking room. Now Philly's trolley was jammed up against them. So the next step in the sequence is that Philly rounded the corner and stopped with a crash. So the trolley stopped. With a crash. So that's the second step in the sequence. Now I'm going to ask them to read the next paragraph, and the next paragraph is only 2 sentences long, so some paragraphs are short and others are long. And let's look what happens. I want them to think about what the next step in the sequence is. Philly sighed. He got a good grip on his trolley and yanked it backwards. So remember, it's a time factor. Time is a factor, and we need to think about what happened next. And what did he do? He pulled the trolley back. Great. We're going to put that in our sequence as well. And we'll continue with this process until we've outlined the entire sequence in Philly's fall. So the first step in the sequence, Philly pushes a trolley towards the baking room. The trolley stopped with a crash. And the third step in the sequence so far is he yanked the trolley back.